Does the success of recent Yankee Stadium show, you know, it was a massive thing, prove that people have been wrong about the appeal of older hip hop legends? You know, or is this an exception? What do you think?
You know, I've been a person that has always said the hip hop legends don't get treated right in hip hop, and then I would always compare it to rock and roll or compare it to whatever. You know, I've always had that stance, but this is the first time where I'm like, maybe I'm wrong because of the reception and the generations that were there for the show. It's not like this place was full of people that are our age. There were kids in there that were Jackson's age that were there as well. And I feel like he actually got his flowers the way he was supposed to. But also there's a part of me that says Jay has always been an exception. So the exception word kind of like, who else is going to do this? Like, I was going to pose a question to this question, but we can answer this first. But I got another follow-up because I want to see what we think about artists that could do the same thing in their home areas based off a certain album. But as it relates to this question that you posed, you know what, Lone? I think this is one of those times where I just got to be honest and say it was just one of the ones where hip-hop was appreciated and Jay got his flowers. Like, I'm going to go with that side. Even though Jay's a legend, I'm going to go with that side.
Yeah, I think it's cool that he had 3 days and he was able to sell it out, and the super fans of his were able to show up and get to see and witness this and all that stuff. I think all that's cool. But I do kind of look at Jay as kind of an exception.
Yeah.
To some, at least on this capacity. Like, I don't know who else. There are very few people I think. Well, I don't know.
See,
man.
That's where I wanted to go, bro, because I don't know.
But I mean, if we take away the fact that Jay-Z did 3 days at Yankee Stadium, right? That's a really high bar.
It is.
But I still think that, you know, as long as the older hip hop legends are still relevant, still doing things, you know, we see reunion tours and things like that. But
I got one for you. Let's just do hypotheticals real quick, right? So what's the stadium? The Rose Bowl. What's called the Rose Bowl? Could Snoop do 3 nights on Doggy Style that are the equivalent of what Jay just did with Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint, etc.?
I think he could.
If they say Snoop is popular. Now, don't get it twisted.
If they say Snoop and if they say Dre and Snoop especially,
if they promote it the same way Jay promoted this, I think absolutely.
You think he could? Because see, Snoop was the first person that came to my mind.
I think Dre and Snoop could do it. I think Dre could do it. I think they could do it separately.
Okay.
I think Eminem could do this.
He could.
I just had a name and I forgot it. But
somebody told me Lil Wayne.
I think Wayne could probably do it.
Yeah, well, Lil Wayne was one that I heard as well.
You know,
if he shows up,
don't do that. You right though. You right, but
he don't have a big history in that.
Yeah, he ain't like Lauryn Hill. I love Lauryn Hill, but she be
cause he had and maybe it's because I think it was in Maine. Like recently, it was the first show of the tour, and he just didn't show up. And they said, "Oh, we'll reschedule it." But I'm like, look, if I and this is a little bit of tangent, but if I got a babysitter, I rented a hotel, something because if I haven't made it to that specific place, I don't know if I can make it to your makeup show. I just want my money back. But so like I said, if it's in somewhere in New Orleans, maybe he does it at Smoothie King, or maybe the Superdome. King. Maybe
Superdome is huge.
Yeah, I know. So that might be pushing it for just Lil Wayne.
Yeah, but I don't want to like compare everything to Jay-Z and that. Like,
not at all.
You know what I mean? Like I feel like a lot of people can. I feel like there are a lot of acts that could do something just like this. Like, all right, we're gonna celebrate beats, rhymes, and life or something. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, or we're gonna celebrate. I mean, granted, Fife's not here, right?
But, for sure.
But like, I do think that. If it's marketed and pushed in the right way, I do think a lot of these legacy acts could at least have a big celebration around a thing. In the same way that Little Brother had their little going out thing, and they're not huge.
Yeah, I think kind of.
That's a good question. That's a good comparison.
We were there in Durham. We were there in Durham, and people showed up to that.
Yeah, I think what Jay-Z is doing here is not only representing for the older or legends, so to speak. Is showing his staying power, because I don't think that Jay's ever had a time where he dropped something and it wasn't real well received. Like, I mean, there may have been mixed reviews on the album here and there, but when he went out on tour, it kind of made up for that, so to speak. But
that's fair.
I think you just have to have a certain fan base and a certain appeal. Kanye could do it.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Kanye,
who else?
feel the United Center.
Wu-Tang will be able to do it.
Yep.
Artists like that. And I just like that it keeps adding to the story of hip hop, that it doesn't matter how old you are, because of
there you go.
the age of hip hop. Hip hop is not that old. So we're still, you know what I'm saying, writing the rules, or fuck it, no rules. You know what I'm saying? If you still love it, if you're still in it for the love of the game, continue to tour, continue to do what you're doing. And this is just showing that it's possible to be 50 some odd years old and sell out an arena or a stadium 3 days in a row, and to have other artists come attribute to the show because they have that much respect for you to, you know what I'm saying, help aid and assist in that.
And that's why I fight with the idea about the exception, because hip hop has been notoriously known for the ageism. And this right here, like this whole situation, just takes that right out the equation because of how successful it was. And then, you know, as we were talking about other artists, it's like he had the merch with the hats and the train and
very expensive merch.
Come on, trust me, I heard the stories. They was definitely,
that merch
it was
is
high,
crazy.
But I heard it was also moving. So he's still at this age, for him to be this relevant and to be able to perform and bring people out. And one of those nights is based off a 30-year record. I just think that is extremely impressive.
I think one of the things, honestly, we need to do is retire that narrative of we're not showing love to
the older
artists, because we just saw what Jay just did. You know, we've seen Nas do nights where everybody gets in the black tie. Same thing with Jeezy. We saw Gucci Mane do it.
True.
And you know, one of the examples to me is like, okay, why we should retire that narrative is Wu-Tang just got done with a stadium tour, like nationwide, went on a second leg, did international, to where, okay, Wu-Tang, maybe you don't know any of the newer records, or honestly, you may not be paying attention or even care, but Wu-Tang has a catalog, especially when it's all of them who are left, you know, rest in peace ODB. There are people who are like, yeah, I'll pay that because it's not cheap to go to concerts. You know, everybody got on whatever the Jay-Z ticket price was. It's not cheap to go to concerts
at all.
The people who appreciate a certain level of music, they're going to pay whatever to just have one night where they have that feeling back.
Yeah.
You know, so
that's what it's about.
I think now we're actually where hip hop is mature to a point to is like, no, if LL Cool J and, you know, Big Daddy Kane and MC Light, and they package that together correctly. Like they did it with the Rock the Bells tour.
Rock the Bells.
You know, people are going to go see that because the people who are the age that they remember those records, they got some money.
That part.
Yeah.
And so honestly, that's what needs to be taken into account. I just think there was this weird place in time to where we're like, oh, we're not appreciating the legends of hip hop. And we just hadn't reached that nostalgia level part yet. And because hip hop as a genre is still so young.
Yeah, it still exists though, because like a lot of the younger fans, they don't really understand. Well, I can't even just say younger fans. I'll say that people that are hip hop adjacent, just because they like a certain artist, they feel like they can speak on other artists or have an opinion when I don't see you and identify your taste in music as hip hop at all.
But we don't care about them.
Right. But those type of people are always going to have something to say about an older hip hop act because one, they weren't there, and two, they don't understand it. I did see some of the streams where there were some younger cats in the audience streaming it. And at the end of the stream, one of them was like, this was my first hip hop show and this was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so to see that it still has that effect on people that understand and appreciate music is promising.
Like I said, we went to go see Little Brother in Chicago.
Yeah.
You know, and if someone who is all into the analytics of things, you know, broke down their chart history, technically they don't have any hit records.
It didn't matter
when you talk about Billboard hits, but everybody in there had paid the money to get in.
Yep.
Bought merch. You know what I'm saying, contributed to, you know, what you would call the hip hop economy, if you will. And so the people who are like, who's Little Brother? I don't care about them.
Yeah, that brings up another thing.
I don't care.
At all.
Because I remember when I first moved here, one of the first shows that I went to at the Vogue, Diggable Planets came here with Omega Watts. So
that's a name.
Exactly. And I just remember telling somebody about it. It's like, yeah, I'm going to go over to the Vogue and go to this. They're like, Diggable Planets, because and this is when Diggable Planets is like 10 years, removed from their last record.
Yeah.
And then when I get back, the person I talked to was like, I should have went to that. I was like, yeah, you should have went to that.